Ah, man, I sure do love talking about fighting games. I sure hope one of my recent videos hasn't caused some controversy in the FGC and fed Scrubquote's Twitter for a whole week with the comments that it spawned. Ah, shit. Well, I guess I should do the reasonable thing, and should just focus on the positives of fighting games from now on. From this day forward, I will only be talking positively about fighting games and the fighting game concepts, in order to make sure that I leave a positive impact on the community. Yeah, like I would give that stuff up so easily. Come on, dude. One of my best videos in months that I could easily do for a bunch of different archetypes. Of course I'm gonna stir the pot and piss more people off. Hello? I am officially an agent of chaos, and it is my sole job to make as many people suffer from my stupid ramblings as possible. So, let's do this one again. It's time to target the one that people really hate. The people who are the most whiny, the scrubbiest, the most insufferable players you've ever met. Let's talk about why you hate fighting Rushdown characters. I'm gonna be firing on myself with this one, aren't I? But first, have you heard of our partner, Rogue Energy? Rogue Energy is a powdered energy drink substitute and a proud sponsor of the Gekkosquirrel channel. Simply pick one of their amazing flavors, add the powder to one of their amazing shakers, add some water, sparkling or still, shake it up a little bit, and boom, you have an extremely tasty and refreshing drink that'll energize you for the rest of your day. I have been drinking Rogue for quite a while now, and I can tell you that it is absolutely amazing, and the best part is I don't feel any crash after the caffeine wears off. As somebody who is known to enjoy caffeinated beverages in the past, this is a great alternative to constantly buying 8 packs of whatever soda you like. So please go to the link in the description and use code He'sGekking to get 20% off your order. Now, let's get on with the video. Rushdown is a pretty common and also pretty broad archetype in the world of fighting games, but there's generally one thing that links Rushdown characters above everything else. Their preferred range is right here. Right where they can smell what you had for breakfast 5 days ago. Rushdown characters tend to have game plans that revolve around them being right in front of you, and they either do so much damage that you really wish you didn't boot up the game, or they mix you so hard that you can legally file for a whiplash claim due to the sheer velocity of the cross-ups that you're eating. Rushdown characters are very versatile like that. You can have a character that is nothing but mids, but once those mids connect, your health bar disappears, or you can have a character that hits you approximately 1,427 times, with all those hits leading into resets upon resets upon mix-ups upon resets that cause your health bar to disappear slowly, and they would both be classified as a Rushdown character. But what is it that links these characters? How could they both possibly be classed as the same archetype when their game plans look so different? Well, that's simple. Rushdown characters are defined by one thing above everything else. Rushdown characters are fast. They have fast buttons, fast movements, fast specials, and fast as fuck game plans. Their goal is simple. Get in, kill you, and get out without dying. Extremely simple. Timer? What timer? You mean that weird number at the middle of the screen that I make sure says 69 every time that I kill you? Rushdown characters generally trade their HP bars and good neutral options in order to be as much of a nuance as possible, having ways to be able to get in on their opponent easily and stay in there once they finally do close the gap. Note that I said the word generally, as it has become more and more common for Rushdown characters to have ways to cover their supposed weakness. For example, characters that trade longer buttons for speed are on paper worse at neutral. However, the faster speed they actually have allows them to have an amazing neutral game, as they can dip in and out of their opponent's striking range faster than any other characters in the cast, meaning the only downside to some mix-up monsters is the fact that once you finally do get caught, you die. That's if they even have a smaller HP bar. For some Rushdown characters, they actually have a above average HP bar, with damage that is just as high, if not higher, than the rest of the cast. In fact, if you look at the higher end of the list for some Guilty Gear Strive characters, you have characters like, obviously, Potemkin, Nagori Yuki, Gold Lewis, you know, the big body characters that you'd expect, but then you also have characters like Leo and Sol at the top, and these aren't exactly what I would call big body characters. Hell, even with the Gust system that makes it so that you take less damage the lower HP you are, the character with the biggest guts in the entire game is actually Angie Mido, sitting on his own with 5 guts rating. Yikes. And we haven't even got into the main thing that Rushdown characters are known for right now. Now, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Which side is this going to hit on? You have 0.5 seconds to guess. Okay, maybe you got it. So my question is now, is it going to be a high or is it going to be a low? 0.5 seconds again. Nice. Maybe you got that. Did you know that she had meter? Okay, high or low? 0.5 seconds again. Trick question. It was a throw this time. This entire situation is what we call in the business bullshit. I mean, these are mix-ups. They're one of the main tools that Rushdown characters use in order to get an advantage over their opponent. And by advantage, I of course mean hitting them, knocking them down, and looping the shit out of them until they die. Rushdown characters tend to also have a good habit of just being better than you, you fucking loser, you worthless piece of shit. Jesus fucking Christ. What is that, a fireball? You put a fireball to a fighting game match? What's wrong with you, dude? Oh my god. Why are you even here, you fucking loser? And they show this by using a little known feature known as being plus as fuck. I don't want to go into exactly what frame data is right now because this is a YouTube video and not a lecture. So just really quickly, if you're minus on block, that's bad because your opponent can act before you do. And if you're plus on block, that's good because you can act before the opponent. Now, frame data is something that every archetype uses, unfortunately. However, Rushdown characters tend to have it better than everyone else, with some of them getting absolutely ridiculous, like, holy shit! The frame advantage lets them do literally whatever they want, which generally involves them absolutely stomping your ass into the ground with something that you didn't even see coming. And trust me, causing someone to be negative as fuck while they have to guess the freeway mix-up that all leads to death in different ways is so fucking fun. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. Playing Rushdown characters and mixing the shit out of your opponent is the most fun you can have in fighting games. And fuck you if you disagree. This isn't a debate. Flexing on my opponent while I style on them with a cool fucking combo that resets into another combo, then into a safe jump into another freeway mix is the best thing you can do, and you can't convince me otherwise. Rushdown characters can sometimes feel like they're a fly in the room. You really want to get rid of them, but every time you manage to pin them down, they somehow manage to slip out. Most Rushdown characters have ways to either play neutral in a way that can cause the rest of the cast to get pretty annoyed, or they can just completely skip neutral entirely. Now, I don't personally like saying that X character can just skip neutral because of this move or that move, because there's generally a way to beat these neutral skips, but I can't exactly argue with someone that some of these characters just don't have to play that part of the game.
Hi, welcome to the Dragon Ball Fighters drive-thru. Can I get your order?
Yeah, can I get a Bardock 236H into a syscall so I just get the entire neutral game combo right there? You know what I'm saying. Yeah, cheers, mate. And even then, some of these characters just have better neutral than the neutral-focused characters. Imagine having a character that focuses on whiff punishing with long normals into good confirms, and Giovanna just says dash 5k, like... Most Rushdown characters generally have pressure that is extremely oppressive and extremely safe. The best Rushdown characters generally have combos and pressures that not only loop into itself on successful hits, but if it's blocked and dealt with, the Rushdown character will generally find themselves in a safe position. Let's take Strive Biken for example. She is the one I play after all. All of her pressure enders leave her in pretty safe positions, but need to be countered in completely different ways. You can't simply block the time that, but she'll be safe. H-Kabari is -3, which means that unless you're right in front of her face, she's going to be safe after that as well. And Escabari leaves her at +2, so she gets to loop her pressure after that. Not to mention, at different points of the string, you're able to get high-low mix and stagger pressure. And if any of it connects, it's extremely easy to get yourself into your safe jump game pressure so that you can just get ridiculously damaged combos that also end in safe jumps once again. Also, remember how you could take your turn back after H-Kabari? Nah. And don't even get me started what happens on counter hit. Holy shit. Rushdown characters are able to overwhelm you with options when trying to get into your face, and then also have even better options once they are finally in. It's up to you to keep that mental stack and try to figure out what it is they're going to do. And you have to do it fast. And if you're not fast enough, then they're going to be throwing things out that you won't even see, and you'll get hit with Reset City after Reset City. And we haven't gotten into the way that people who actually play these characters talk. Oh my fucking god. Trying to have a conversation with a Rushdown player about balance is one of the worst mistakes you can make in the FGC. It's right up there with admitting that you play Smash Bros. Competitively, or that you don't see a problem with Dark Apostle Noel's design. These players are extremely stubborn and closed-minded, especially when it comes to the balance of the game. Their character, no matter who they play, is either 100% perfectly balanced or just strong, but they're never top tier. Definitely not top 1. In fact, I take it back. There can be a third option to what they think about their character, and that is they're the worst character in the game with 0 winning matchups. Yes, I have been all of these guys, sometimes at the exact same time. They're also just really whiny. There's a phrase in the FGC that you've probably heard quite a bit. It goes something like, adapt, please, for the love of God, just fucking adapt. And Rushdown players just refuse to take this advice. They see that there's something wrong with their game plan, and instead of figuring it out and working around it, they just decide, nah, fuck it, we ball, and complain that the game is broken and things should be changed, which is extremely annoying when you're trying to talk about the game in depth. No, this matchup isn't bullshit. You just have to slightly change your playstyle, Brian. I'm sorry that you didn't just get to run up to them brain-dead offense and have to actually think about your approach tools for once. And these characters are generally just really easy to play, but Rushdown players will make it sound like it's the hardest thing in the world. Take this from a dedicated Rushdown player. Apart from a small handful of characters that do definitely take a lot of dedicated skill to use, most Rushdown characters are extremely easy, and anyone can cook with them if they just know the game plan and how to execute it. The hardest part is getting in, and even then, some of these characters have ways to do it for free. But no, they'll make it sound like that TK combo is the hardest thing that you've ever seen, and no one could ever possibly do that while ignoring the fact that some zoners have similar moves that are just objectively harder to perform consistently. Like, no, dude, those loops that you've been labbing out for fucking ages aren't hard. It's just executional skill. You're not adapting. You're not changing your game plan. The moment that your enemy figures you out, you fucking crumble. You're not a god at these games. Shut the fuck up. And there's just so many of them. Like, oh my fucking god, everyone plays Rushdown these days. And they get confused because barely anyone plays zoners or grapplers. So the moment that they have to stop doing anything that isn't two gorillas just running into each other, they're just like, oh my god, no, it doesn't make any sense. Learn the fucking matchup. Anyway, like grapplers, Rushdown characters come in many different forms. In fact, I would say that Rushdown is one of the biggest and broadest categories that covers a large range of characters, but I'm only going to talk about 2 sub-archetypes, one of which I will admit is very debatable, but I can't think of anywhere else to put it, that I think demonstrate the points that I'm making pretty well, and also is fun to talk about fighting games. Pixie characters are characters that are defined by 2 main things. They are extremely fast or have very good movement options when compared to the rest of the cast, and they have extremely low HP bars. The job of the Pixie character is to try and deal as much damage to the opponent as possible before they land a single good hit on them. Life leads are generally pretty short-lived with these characters, as any stray conversion can take them from a nice, good health lead to an even game, or even a negative game. Pixie characters have to walk the fine line of taking risks in order to get their opponent's HP bar down, but not too many risks, as any major mistake could have them explode instantly. There is a bright side to all of this though, since Pixie characters are generally extremely fast, they not only have the ability to play neutral extremely well by forcing themselves into situations that they would never really be able to get into if it wasn't for that speed, but they can generally take that speed and use it to go in the opposite direction. Amazing backdashes, good defensive tools, and some tricky hurt boxes. Pixie characters can turn their blistering speed from an offensive weapon into a defensive tool at a moment's notice. Take Chip Zanna for an example. He is easily one of the fastest characters in the cast with an extra jump. He also has amazing mix-up tools that can also leave opponents guessing, and all of this can feel extremely pressuring once you're in the blender. His extra speed and third jump also allow him to play a very tricky and slippery neutral game where he's always able to make the opponent second guess where he's going to be, and thus making it extremely hard to actually catch him. And once he whiffs a button, he's able to turn back on the offense and go in, making good chip plays an absolute nuisance to fight. Now here's the one that's probably a bit controversial, but where else am I going to put it, right? Set play is a technique in which you perform a pre-planned setup after you knock down your opponent. This is generally something that consists of a meaty, an attack that hits you as soon as you're getting up, as well as some form of mix-up in order to make it hard to block. Set play characters are characters that revolve entirely around knocking the opponent down and repeating set play situation after set play situation after set play situation until the opponent blocks the whole string successfully and finds a way out, or the opponent dies because they couldn't block all the mix. Now, not every set play character is a Rushdown character, and not every Rushdown character can perform set play, unless you get creative with it. But more often than not, set play characters generally have a very similar amount of bullshit that Rushdown characters do. They're not always as fast and mobile, see the start of the sentence, Milia, but they do manage to have some of, if not the most potent mix-ups in the game because of the setups that they can make. A lot of the time, this is done by having the opponent block a projectile as they wake up, which allows them to do whatever they want to make the opponent guess. Being knocked down by a set play character is absolute hell, as they can just repeat the situation they put you in over and over and over and over again, all with different variations and unique answers that you need to know before going into the situation, otherwise you die. And it can be so toxic. Like, you get knocked down, and now you have to play a Mario Party minigame until the opponent messes up, or you somehow manage to guess correctly and block the entire string, which still probably leaves them in a safe position to just run back to neutral. It can be really annoying, and getting absolutely mixed by a good set play character can make you feel like there's no hope. The only saving grace for me is that I've never met somebody who plays a set play character who can actually block mix-ups. So once you finally get your hands on them, they tend to crumble. Should have spent less time in the lab, bitch! Alright, I think I'm sufficiently done shooting myself and every other player who plays my favorite archetype in the foot. Listen, this series it's just a bit of fun. It's fun to point at something in a game and yell, "That's bullshit!" Which is why so many people do it all the time. That or I angered the cult. I think I angered the cult, didn't I? Anyway, you should take this series as just a little bit of fun. I'm just a dumb Strive Bicon player that has very little knowledge on fighting games outside of the few games that I rotate between, so don't take anything I say really seriously, and just enjoy the funny visuals and dumb jokes. Remember when I went to the drive-thru? That took me like 2 hours. Thank you all for watching. Make sure that you love each other and enjoy fighting games. Also, zoners, you're fucking next. Don't you think that you're gonna be able to keep dodging my wrath? This was common courtesy. You're fucking next. As always, a very special thanks to 64MHz, Almost Nap Time, Bantu Shitos, Brudikai, Cervantes de Leon, Daniel Wiedericht, Dragonprox, Games.png, I Am Naoto, Lady Dantalon, Melodically Me, Monact, Enhoa, Ray W, Super, Forcon, Tom Tanks, and Zandatsu for being Tier 2 patron supporters.